Hey, welcome back to the garage. Today we're going to be removing and replacing the seat on the Goldwing. I have a lot of maintenance items that need to be done, and it seems like every time I touch this bike I've got to take the seat off. It's not hard. There's a couple of little detailed steps you need and a couple of tips and tricks that I can give you that help you out a little bit. It's just something I have to do a lot and I hate it, so I thought I would share that love. You only need a few tools to do this job. You need a 6mm Allen key. It doesn't matter if you have it on a ratchet like I do or if it's on a T-handle. T-handle is a little bit safer whenever you're working on the bike, so you don't put too much torque on it. I would not recommend a hand-driven Allen key only because it's so hard to get in where you have to get to. You're going to want a screwdriver to help you align it. It doesn't matter if it's Phillips or flat, it just has to be sort of narrow enough that you can get it in there if this is a number 2 Phillips. You're going to want a magnetic retriever. If you're going to work on your own Goldwing, you always want a magnetic retriever. There is a washer that can drop into your bike that you do not want to lose. You're going to want a little bucket, or at least I do. This is pretty optional, but I keep a lot of these around. You'll see them in all of my videos that I'm working on the bike. This is where I throw parts so that I don't lose them and I can set them aside. Grease is helpful, not required. I use it on the grommets on the top of the bike so that they go in and out easier in the future. And if you're a shop manual guy, this is going to be covered on pages 2-6 and 2-7 and 2-8 in your shop manual. That's removing this cowl and removing and replacing the seat. That's where that's at. So that's the plan for today. Remove the seat, and these are the tools you need. One other little tip here for you is when you're taking body panels off, have some place to put them that is off the ground. Ask me how I know. What you don't want to do is step on them and break them. If you watch on YouTube, there's some people who actually hang these off their walls so they don't step on them. You do not want these on the floor because you might break them. That's really what it comes down to. So I always have a place to set these aside when I'm working on the bike. So to remove your seat here, we have to get behind this panel. There's a bolt we need to access. This panel is held in by some grommets, but it's also held in by your saddlebag, so nobody on the side of the road can just lift that out of the way. So what you're going to want to do is open your saddlebag. That'll unblock this edge of your panel here. Then there are 4 grommets. One here, one here, one here, and one here that you have to release. A grommet is a rubber washer kind of thing with a pin. Pull this guy out till the grommets release. Once all the grommets release on the back here, you can then release this grommet right here. And you just pull. It's going to feel like a little bit of resistance and then it'll just pop right off. And then we want to release this grommet up here, like that. Now this guy will scratch this piece up if you just yank it out of there. So either be really careful, which will minimize scratching, or put painter's tape up here if you want to be really anally retentive. You're just going to tilt this guy out of the way and bring it to the back until it works its way out of that hole right there. You can see it's held on by this tab right here. So other side of the bike, same operation. Okay, so now that we've got this side panel off and the other side panel off, there's bolts on both sides right here that we have to remove. So what we want to do is just kind of crack that. Where you feel that bolt starting to pop, reach in there with your magnetic retriever and use that to pull your bolt out. This is the washer you do not want to lose on the seat. So a little tip there is to drop that in your bucket. Make sure you use that magnetic retriever so you don't drop that. So just like the other side, we're going to grab our 6mm hex and our magnetic retriever. So there's your bolt and the washer. Just make sure you have both of those. So if you've got a Goldwing Tour, on the right-hand side of your bike, you're going to have a cable that connects into your seat that runs your seat heater. So you need to disconnect this cable, and the easiest way to do that is to disconnect it down low and remove it from this holding pin. Then you want to get on the back side, there's a little tab you need to push on. So you're just going to push that little tab and separate the clip. Now, when we go to lift this seat off, we've got to feed this cable up through here. So we want to move it around this body panel right here so that it's in a position where it can just be pulled up when you lift the seat. We've taken off the side panels, we've taken off our bolts, we've disconnected our seat heater cable. Now it's time to just lift the seat off. There are only 2 grommets up front that hold the seat down, and then the whole seat will slide forward and pop out. The trick is, with this heater cable, we've got to feed this cable under the rail as we pull the seat up. So to pop the seat up, we're just going to grab it by the fronts here, pop it out of its 2 rubber grommets, one there, and then we can kind of shake the seat forward and it'll just lift off the bike. Make sure you're clear of your cowl here, and if you want to be careful, throw a towel down here. When you get here, the seat heater cable, you're going to have to feed it under the rail. So just push it under the rail so it clears through and you can get it out of the way. That's all you have to do. Then you can lift the seat up, pull it forward, and you're off. And you're just, all the seat's all the way out now. When we're putting the seat on, we're going to take this tab right here and it goes into this slot. And the pins we talked about earlier are going in these grommets. These grommets can get really stiff on you, and sometimes when you pull this out, you'll pop this grommet out. So what I like to do is take some silicone lube. I just use super lube, and I just pop it on there on each one. You don't have to do this every time, just you want to keep it so it's a little bit loose. It makes it so they slide down easier, and they also come back up easier. So remember, it's this pin's going in this slot as we put the seat in, and these grommets here are lining up with these pins. So the whole thing has to kind of go in and down, and you'll sometimes fight with this guy. These 2 slots go on these 2 posts. When we put this in here, that means we need to be sure that those 2 guys go underneath of those rails, under those pins. First, we have to drop our wire underneath the rail, like so it's out of our way. Now, you don't want to fight this too much, but basically you got to make sure by looking through here, you can kind of see if you're under the pins, and you just pop this back until the seat drops down. For extra measure, I like to give it a bump. So I'll get up on the bike and just give it a bump backwards to make sure it's fully seated rearward. So now we've got the seat in the right place, and you can tell because everything just kind of fits now. Nothing is too high, nothing is cattywampus. Everything is feeling like it's in the right place. And the seat is physically back on, but we still have to bolt it down. And this is the worst part of the entire process. The problem is, if you have anything misaligned, this bolt hole will not be in the right place. So first thing to check is how far off you are. You can kind of see back in there if you get a good flashlight. But what I like to do is just put my bolt on my driver and put it in there and see if it'll start threading at all. Sometimes you'll get lucky and it'll just thread right up. And remember, as you do this, to use your magnetic driver. Don't do what I just did. You might drop your washer accidentally. If everything looks right, but it's just off by a hair, what you can do is take a regular screwdriver, put it in the hole, and kind of push it around a little bit. Don't go crazy. You don't want to wreck your threads, but you can kind of push it around a little bit, which may help it be in the right spot. And then you just take your driver, your number 6, put your bolt on there, drop it in the hole, and screw it down. Sometimes, like right now, it goes really smooth and everything's awesome. Most of the time, that's not how it goes. Don't get too frustrated with this. Everybody has a hard time with this. It is a very poor design. Now, when you're tightening this down, don't go crazy. Just snug it up. You're not going to do anything. If you just go too tight, you could strip everything out, and you don't want to do that. Other side of the bike, we're going to do the same thing. Get our bolt. That's it. Both bolts are in. The last thing we need to do is put these body panels back on. So just like when you took them off, you gotta open this saddlebag. We've got 4 grommets we're going into. Now these you don't want to lube up because they do sit on the sides of the bike and they're not the same problem as the ones up top. So I tend to leave these dry. I clean them but don't lube them. We're just going to reverse the process we did before. We're going to get the nose in first by tilting up into our hole, bringing it back, and we're going to line these rear grommets up, push everything in, close our saddlebag. That's it. Last panel, this side. Now you'll note on my bike, I have a Vantrue dash cam, so there's a lot of stuff here you won't have if you don't have this. So I put the wiring harness and the actual Vantrue computer is in here. That's it. It's back on. We took the seat off, we put the seat back on. Just be careful when you're taking it off that you're using your magnetic retriever so you don't drop the washer down inside the engine. Make sure you put some lube on your front grommets there. And when you're putting accessories under your seat, just make sure that you're keeping them down low. You can check out my other video where I covered why can't I get my damn seat on, where I actually stuck a camera up underneath of there to figure out why it was so hard to put my seat back on. But it's pretty straightforward operation. It's something you're going to do a lot. Don't be afraid to do it. This is probably the easiest thing you'll do on your bike other than this damn bolt on the side, which is so hard to get in and out. But that's it. Keep your wheels down. Have a good ride.